Have you ever had that feeling where you know something is right or wrong for you, but then your mind tries to talk you out of it and all these doubts arise? Or maybe even you go ask 5 other people their opinion about what you should do. Well, this is so human nature to have a challenge with discerning between fear and what I call your inner knowing or your intuition. And it's really not that easy, is it? In life sometimes, but I want to show you some tips of how to work with this so that you can tell the difference. So fear wants certainty. It just wants to know what's going to happen, when is it going to happen, and it wants the whole map of everything. But when you follow and you're feeling your inner knowing wants truth. And it usually is quieter and will come more like a stepping stone. It doesn't need to know the whole picture. It's not going to show you necessarily your whole life or the whole outcome. But when you're in your inner knowing or your intuition, it's spacious, it's quiet, it's often more simple than fear, and it's calm. And it's not usually dramatic. It's actually often pretty simple. It might come to you like, wait, or it's time now, or say no. It can be very simple. And one way to know the difference between your fear and your intuition is that when you're in fear, fear is noisy. It often has a lot of questions. It will present what I call like the what ifs. Well, what if this happens if I do it? Or what if this happens if I don't do it? Or what will this person think of me? Or will everything fall apart? Fear really is noisy and it brings a lot of questions. It can also be more intense and more dramatic. It can be more complicated and create a lot more thinking. It can feel more urgent. This is some of how you can tell the difference, where you're coming from, and how to find your inner knowing. This is such a big challenge, isn't it, on the spiritual path, so that you can discern the difference. And remember, you may have anxiety even when you have your inner knowing arise. You may still feel some fear. That's completely natural. Even when your intuition is there, it does not mean that you will not have any anxiety. It tends to have a different quality. It's like more like softer, like little lighter. Like it almost has like an expansion to it the anxiety when you're in your inner knowing and it's still there. But when you're in fear, that is more charged and it can feel more like constricted and tight and like pulling you inward. And so there is a big difference when you're in your inner knowing. You may still feel a little scared, but that doesn't mean that you're not in your intuition. And you really can trust that. And intuition often brings us small steps, small information at one moment. You know, it's not likely to tell us our whole life plan. Fear wants it all worked out, right? It wants the whole map. But when we feel our intuition rise, it's usually coming through the body and the core, the central part of your system as a felt sense. You know, that feeling like gut instinct, or you just know something and you'll often feel it like straight in the center of your body or in your belly. Maybe you'll even have some tingling or some expansion. And these are some of the ways that you can know that you are in your intuition. And, you know, sometimes it's not enough just to be in our intuition, but we must learn to trust our inner knowing. And that does take practice, like building a muscle, to really trust that. And you really can, even if you're a little scared to do something. I've never seen intuition in all my 35 years of private practice with clients and healing and awakening. I've never seen intuition lead anyone in a bad way or down a wrong path. I've always seen it bring support, help, and guidance. And so it just takes that little bit of courage sometimes to realize that you can trust your inner knowing and that you may just be revealed the next step. And you do that, and then when you listen to that, it builds stronger. Your spiritual muscle of intuition grows. And then you're given more. You're given then the next step. You know, we're given pieces and increments by design, by our soul's design, so that we can learn. We are in Earth School. We are visiting these earth bodies. We are star beings or light beings. We are spirit in a body. And we are learning by being embodied and practicing listening to our inner knowing and not letting the fear rule. It's so important if we want to wake up more deeply, if we want to heal more deeply and live happily and in peace, to follow our inner knowing and to really trust that, say no to the old conditioning that has you doubting yourself, and really trust that the universe is benevolent and you are being guided. And your knowing might be quiet, it might be simple, and it might not have as many words as the fear. That's another way to tell the difference. The fear has a lot of words, a lot of noise, but the intuition is often simple and quiet. And we can access that more when we are more still. And when we have dropped below our mind And we are resting in our body and in our breath. And you can practice this right now. And dropping all the thoughts. And you can practice each day noticing, is there fear? You can say, is there fear here about this situation? Is there fear? And you can sense deeper. What is this about? What is it informing you of? And then you can ask, what do I know? And just wait and feel and sense, not through your mind, but down through the breath and your inner awareness. It's more subtle. What do I know is a great question. And see what arises. And you can even say it about a particular situation. You can think of a person and then say, what do I know about this situation with this person for myself? What do I know? And you can notice a difference in this experience between the fear and what it's telling you. And you can feel the frenetic. It has a upper quality where it pulls you up. It's kind of busy. And what do you know? What do I know? And that has a more settled, quiet quality. And you can hold each of these, fear on one hand, what do you know on the other hand? And you can see the difference. And this is how you begin to tell the difference between fear and your inner knowing. Practice this. It truly is life-changing to begin to know the difference and live by your inner knowing. It will build that muscle, and life will deliver more of that to you, more guidance, because you are listening and you are vibrating and raising your frequency by saying yes and following your inner guidance. And then your frequency rises. And the quantum field says, yeah, that's what we are. And you're matching this vibration of love, of unity, this high vibration. And as you match that, then you begin to attract and receive more and more of your inner guidance. And you feel uplifted by this, and your spiritual muscle grows, and it gets easier to discern when there is fear and when there is your inner knowing. And you get to rest in this place, and life flows easier. You heal quicker, your guided answers come, and you are supported in a way by this beautiful, benevolent, divine universe that we live in, because you truly are loved and supported. Please let me know how your experience goes as you practice this. And if you'd like to deep dive into more teaching like this, you can join me in integrating infinity. And the links are below. So much love.